walk as a Christian, reading books, to say that it's good to plan life as if you're going to live until 100 years. But live life as if you're going to die tomorrow. I looked at Xolani to say that, he lives knowing that he's going to die, and that's why he did the right thing. A lot of us are careless because we have a false picture, false reflection of a long life when you don't have it. I think Xolani, when he talked about that short life, I have a short life to live. I think it's important for all of us to know that we have a short life to live. This life is short. I actually worked it out mathematically, going through the scriptures in the Bible to say that if 1,000 years in the eyes of the Lord is like one day, how long is 70 years in the eyes of the Lord? And I worked it out, so 70 years or 80 years is actually just over 12 minutes. So if I have to live until about 70, 80 in the eyes of God, I've lived for about 12 or 15 minutes. That's what you call a long life. So all of us, we have a very short life to live. I think we have to look at Xolani and say, all of us, we have to do more for our communities. All of us, we have to make sure that we become good role models. He was humble. He was approachable. What I like about his shows, very interestingly, he's a man who could look at complex issues and simplify it. There are times when I listen to radio and listen to journalists and commentators and start thinking that of what you say, how many of those who are below matric can understand the concept? But Xolani could simplify very complex concept, in the economy and make it easy for people to understand it. And I believe that good teachers and journalists should simplify the concepts that are difficult for most of us, so that at least even the simple person on the street should understand it. So he became very simple, but interpreting complex issues. And that's why, a friend like that is a friend that we need. Xolani was also a son to his parents. For parents, it's very difficult as a parent to lose a son at that age, a son who has potential, a son who can still do more. But God does what He wants, when He wants, with whom He wants, how He wants, when He wants. And He's not accountable to us. But as parents, we become custodians of God's children that we call our children, and God can take them anytime. Xolani was a good son. And I want to say to his parents that we lost a son with my lovely wife at the age of 24 from a very rare cancer. So from Xolani's parents, what he's going through, me and my wife have gone through it. He had cancer and we saw him going down where even medicine could not help. But we knew whatever God has planned, whatever God has allowed, no man can change it. Xolani was a good friend. Xolani had humor. Xolani was a good listener. A lot of us, especially with our high intellect, high IQs, we don't listen to people. We think we know answers to people's problems. But that man was a listener. And we thank God for him. We thank God for him. We thank Xolani for being a health activist. The time that he spent talking to the people, about the people who can't afford, he did it so well. It reminded me of the last 3 years of Jesus Christ, where his focus was more about others than himself. So Xolani's last few years in life, it wasn't about him, it was about others. And this is all that we have to do for the rest of our lives. Lastly, Xolani was a child of God. It's important for us to understand that if you know God, whatever challenge that you have, and you put it in God's hands, becomes easy. Everything that he did without God, I don't think could have managed. Every character of him, you go through the scriptures, you know that Xolani was a child of God. And it's important to know that once you embrace the principles of Christ and being a child of God, you can overcome and every obstacle in life. And for the family Pegisu, we're honored that we came here with my wife. We know we love you dearly. We'll always share those good moments together. But don't walk away from the love of God. Proverbs 19:21 says, many are the plans in a man's heart, but God's purpose will prevail. So make sure that your plans align to the purpose of God. You know, to your children, I know they are not here. I lost my father at the age of 7, but here I am. So even if you lose a father at a young age, there's hope, because the hope is in Christ. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Don't lean on your own understanding, but seek His will in everything that you do, and the Lord will direct you. Thank you. Trust God. And it's all about the truth. God is the truth. And all of us, we're in search of the truth. And the truth is Christ, and only Him alone. Amen.
All right, I think we should sort the music out. We still have some technical problems there. But thanks again to Dr. Stanley Ketty for the inspiring words, and the friends and mentors of Xolani Gwala, Gina Malindi, welcome Mashinini, Jabulumia. Thank you again for your remarks. And now I'm going to call on the Gwala family to come forward. Tula Nezwi Gwala to be the first to speak, and Dr. Rich Gwala and Mdu Gwala to be on standby. And as you've heard from the friends and colleagues, the whole nation appreciates the fact that you made him available to us.
Thank you, Program Director. May I take this opportunity to recognize the First Lady, Mrs. Nzimande, and Mr. Nzimande in his absence, as well as our priest. We thank the Pastoral Council for this particular church for allowing us to use their facility to do this important event. I humbly thank the people that organized this particular event for Xolani Gwala. My name is Tula Nezwi Gwala, commonly known as Tula Gwala. I am the youngest uncle of Xolani Gwala. We all come from Impendle. I would also like, at this particular moment, to recognize the Gwalas, the Kumalo, all friends of Xolani Gwala, all his colleagues, and we thank you for having associated with this guy, our son, the son of the Gwalas. Xolani, I will not bog you down to the things that you've said already because of the time factor, and also of the fact that I don't want to be sounding like a broken CD. I would like to just move on and tell you about the things that I know. I know the people in Johannesburg know Xolani far better than I do, and well, in his later life. Earlier in his life, I knew him. I carried him as a family son, and we brought him up in a very respectful family that appreciates Ubuntu. Xolani grew up with that character. And I must just point out, I've heard people saying Xolani was, specifically Xolani at one time, he invited me with his wife because they wanted to contribute to the local school, and they wanted to give the iPads to the local school. They gave out about 30 iPads to the local school. So when Xolani made a speech, he said, we should help other people because there is no one person in this particular world who was never helped by somebody. So we should always go out there, remember the people that you should help, and do so. We are here as the Gwalas to fetch Xolani's body and to also unite with the Khumalo, ikakhulukazi umakhumalo makoti. We will go to other events that's organized. But I would like to thank deeply Xolani's friends, his colleagues, about Khumalo, about Gwala, okuthenga isikhathi sobunzima baba naye. A friend in need is a friend indeed. In this particular case, all those people that fared with Xolani during his hard times are real friends. And we are all the friends of the Gwalas. So I would like also to make you aware that Xolani will be buried at Kwanovuga village in Impendle on the 9th of November 2019. I know that Novuga is not known, most probably even if you use your modern systems, it might point you somewhere else and all of that. If you know Bulwa, because there's a minister who comes from there, and Nkosazana Zuma, it's not too far from Bulwa. Bulwa is on the south, Impendle is on the north, across the Umkomazi River. Maybe for those people who've been frequently going to Bulwa, are not too far from Impendle. I am with my friends here, with my family here, who will be speaking here. You know, I am supposed to be a father, but I must tell you the truth, I am shaken. What happened to the man that lifted the Gwala family to this level, who is now no more. Xolani was one of us. Xolani was the person that belongs to the nation, to the South African people. Now that he is no more, we as a family, we are left with a void. A large number of people can talk about the loss and a recovery. We will not recover him. We will always wish he is with us every time we meet. Every time an event takes place at home, we will always wish Xolani is present. It's not going to disappear today. It's not going to disappear tomorrow. It's going to stay with us as long as we live. Ulale kahle Mphephetwa, ulale kahle Majiya, ulale kahle Mdlovu. Sohlala sikukhumbula. Emoyeni wethu asiphumule. Ngiyabonga. Thank you.
Dr. Gwala.
And Mdu Gwala, please be on standby.
Thank you. Thank you so much. With all protocol respected, I greet you all.
In the interest of time, I'm just going to get into the meat. I'm going to be talking about Xolani as a brother to me. So, Xolani, it's his day, it's our day of celebrating his life today, and to say goodbye to him. And I just want to say, I think Xolani lived a good life. He lived a nice life. He lived a sweet life. He lived a complete life. The only problem with his life was that it was very, very short. I'm just going to give you a bit of a story, a quick short story, which will basically reflect the character. Basically, I want to talk about the character of Xolani as we knew him in the family. The story goes as follows. 3 students were in a VW Beetle en route to write a science final exam paper. It was early in the morning, and as they intended to beat the early morning traffic, there was dead silence in the car as they each wondered what questions would be asked in the question paper and how they would approach the question paper. Then suddenly, along the freeway, 3 chickens, Then suddenly, along this freeway, 3 chickens passed in front of them. And all of a sudden, the silence broke, and the people in the car started talking. So, they asked themselves a couple of questions. The first question was, where do these chickens come from on a freeway that does not have any houses around them? The second question was, where do they get the kind of a speed that they are moving at? And the third one was, is there anything chasing them? And the answer to all those questions was that there was no answer. So, seeing that there was no answer, they then started thinking around themselves as to what some of the historical leaders in the past would have said regarding this incident that they've just seen. So the first person they thought about was a scientist who was known as Mendel, Gregor Mendel, who lived in the 1800s. So they knew that Mendel was very interested in genetics in terms of understanding how genes get transferred from one generation to the next, and he used peas. He was a biologist. He used plants, the peas. So they said maybe these chickens have developed certain types of genes that make them to be able to run like this. Close to that, they said no, it's probably evolution, and it's probably related to a man called Darwin. Darwin would probably explain this as being a form of evolution and adaptation. And then from there they said, okay, the next person they would think of was Einstein. They said, what would Einstein have said when he saw this? And then their answer to that was that, look, Einstein would have said it's not too clear if in fact the chickens actually were running on the road or that the road was actually moving underneath the chickens. That was his theory of relativity. It's probable that the chickens were not running and that in fact the ground was actually moving underneath the chickens' legs. And then the next person, obviously, that they thought about was a chicken franchisee. And they said, no, a chicken franchisee would have said, these chickens are actually giving you the direction to the nearest food outlet, which is probably Nando's. And then the next one they thought about was Martin Luther King. They said, no, in the words of Martin Luther King, Martin Luther King would probably have said, I have always foreseen this kind of a world where chickens will be free and have the freedom to cross the freeways. Then they also thought about somebody else, which was George W. Bush. So they said, what would have Bush said when he saw this? And they said, no, Bush would have simply said, send the army to where these chickens are coming from. It's very likely that they are running away from the masses or from the weapons of mass destruction. So that was actually their theory, because they did not have an answer to what they had just seen. You will realize what I'm talking about later on as I go with this story. So my relationship to Xolani, how am I related to Xolani? I call him a brother, but in fact this is how it goes. A young farm worker from the Gwala clan at Emapepeteni, which is just north of Durban at Ininanda, moved south of Durban. He passed Inchanga towards Pietermaritzburg. He finally settled, this was actually in the 1800s. He finally settled on the farms near Howick, very close to the modern day area, which is now referred to as the Nelson Mandela capture site. This man's name was Nonhlanhla Chwayo. And if you wanted to understand what Nonhlanhla Chwayo actually means in English, it means wandering. So he was actually referred to as a wanderer. So this man got married to two women. His first wife was from the Ndlovu clan. And from this first wife, who was from the Ndlovu clan, he got two sons. The first son was, his name was Skapane, and the second son was Nkantolo. I, myself, as Xolani Gwala, come from that generation of the family, which is the Skapane family from Umandlovu. Xolani, on the other hand, comes from the second wife. The second wife was from the Zwane clan, and he had 5 sons, who since then developed to have a lot of other children and other sons. But his first son from the second wife was Ugedlegedle. And Xolani then comes from that lineage, from Ugedlegedle. So what keeps us together as a family? How do we get together like we are doing as we are doing? Because these generations have actually are full all over South Africa. But the only thing that keeps us together is our love is that we are a deeply cultured family. We still believe in the culture, the African systems of doing things. So that helps us to bond and to keep to link up all the time. Now, about Xolani, the character. Xolani to all of us was actually, for me and to many of us, lived the life of an open book. He believed everything about him was written on the wall. He was open, he was sincere, he was honest, he was truthful, he was trustworthy, he was dependable, he was reliable, and most of all, he was very, very humble. The second very big point about Xolani was that he espoused the true spirit of humanity, Ubuntu. He believed in the fact that you are because I am, and I am because you are. Umuntu ngumuntu ngabantu. Everything he did was for the people, and people actually, the nice thing is they actually gave him back what he wanted from them. Umuntu ngabantu. He believed in that very much so. The next very important point about him was that he was genuinely a people's person. He had this deep and very deep love for people, irrespective of who they were and where they came from. He was just passionate about sharing time and ideas with people. I think this also was, these characters actually gave him, it was a good combination for him to be successful at his work. The next very important thing that we thought the character that he had was that of being a perfectionist. I personally was one of his followers on radio and television. I found him to be very thorough when he was doing his work. His topics were very well researched. He was very informed, and he was able to educate the public. I got educated actually from Xolani quite a lot. I now and again actually told him that I would phone him after the interview now and again and tell him that, look, the interview you had with the Minister of Finance, I got a feeling that it was two people working in the same office and having a very good discussion about issues relating to the economy and finance. About his illness, I think his illness is now public knowledge. I have got absolutely nothing to add. I just think he was actually he and his wife are the best narrators of Xolani's illness. They knew it so well, they learned from it. They were just too good, and they've actually related it so much over and over and again. From the day the diagnosis of the cancer was made, he sat with all of us in the house and he told us that, look, I'm fully aware about what I'm facing, but I am going to put my boots on, and I'm going to die with my boots on. And in fact, this is exactly what he did. He died with his boots on. So you can actually, he's a man of his word. Support that he got, I think it's I know people who are going to say, but as a brother, I think it's just good after having shared all this time with him over the past 2 years when he was sick. And I just really want to say thank you to everybody on his behalf and on behalf of the Gwala and the Khumalo clan for the humbling support he received from you, the South African nation, the Radio 702 listeners, his employer, Radio 702, his friends and colleagues. Because trust me, every time he got those messages, even if he was sleeping and feeling very bad, he would wake up and show us and say, look, this is giving me strength, to stand up and do something, literally see it on his face and see the way he's reacting, because all those messages were very emotional. And I can assure you, the people from 702, I think if there is no 702 already on the other side, I think he's going to open a radio station there. But if it is there, he's going to join the rest. I think to his medical team as well, just a special thanks. I think they did their best. And in particular, he's a medical oncologist. He also proved that, he genuinely proved that medicine is not just a science, but in fact a serious art. And he was very able to combine that, thumbs up to him. And support to Xolani's immediate family. I think Xolani's wife, Makumalo, his mother-in-law, the two kids who have actually spent a lot of time in the house with Xolani, Buhle and Sesetu. Like Xolani said it in his own words at some stage that, fighting cancer has been like hell. I think the family who have been staying with him have actually been through hell as well, actually, because the truth was that the condition was simply unpredictable. One day he's back from the hospital and you think he's getting better, and the very same night, midnight, he has to go back to the hospital. It disturbs everybody's sleep. It disturbs literally everybody's emotions, but they were all able to handle it calmly. Just to go back then to why that, why did I mention the whole joke about the 3 chickens? So as a family, generally this is how we were brought up, to say, look, you guys, stop complaining. I actually even tell my colleagues wherever I am, stop complaining and do things. Make a difference in life, in your life for yourself and the people around you. But that change will only come if you do something yourself. So we have been brought up in that way, and I think everything that has been said reflects that in fact that is what he was doing, because we have been very lucky, in fact, in the family, that a lot of our grandfathers, they died quite late in life, in their 80s and their 90s. In fact, they've been dying literally quite recently, over the past 7 to 10 years or so. And they've always been instilling this thing in us. This, look, even if you go out there to Joburg, go and represent the family, go and do things properly, okay? Do the best you can. It's just a pity that Blake Zimanda, I actually told him this thing before. The last time I spoke about this message was about 12 years ago. It's a pity it's gone now. We were in a function for the same man, Xolani. He was on his way to Palestine to work there. So we had a function, and I actually mentioned this quote. This is the first time since then that I mentioned. He laughed. I wanted to let him know that, policies are good, but in policies that talk is good, but action, there has to be action and proper action. And I know him, he's my brother as well. I think, before I say bye-bye, I just want to say, hamba kahle Xolani Butas Gwala, lala ngoxolo nzimande, phumula mphephethwa, bingelela ku Majiya kaMashika, wena kaKhamango, wena kaMdlovu, ubatshele Alois kaGedlegedle noNhlanhlathwayo ukuthi sizwile indwiku yabo isishaye engeqwantwala. I thank you so much.
That's Dr. Rich Gwala and Mdu Gwala. So we're still going to hear from Peggy Sue Kumalo Gwala. She's going to speak later on. So she's on the program. We also are going to hear from members of the Kumalo family and their friends and the children as well. So those are the last 3 parts of the program that are coming up. So for now, Mdu Gwala.
Nginibingelele nonke enisivakashele ukuzovezela umfowethu. Ngiqale ngibonge kuye nomphathi wohlelo, ngiphinde ngi-recognize umama wesizwe. Ngibonge kuyena nje specifically, ufike 3 times at the hospital when I was there with my brother on his last days. So thank you. I recognize that. I know that you also came at home 2 days back when I was going back to Devon. So, as you might have heard, I'm the brother Mdu. I come after Xolani. So, I will touch on 2 things as a brother. Firstly, on his last days when he was very sick. Before I go there, I would like to thank Makumalo. One of the speakers has mentioned that it must have been difficult this time of Xolani. So it has been difficult with the family. So I stay in Devon. I don't stay here. I work in Devon. So my brother was staying here with Makumala. So I've been hearing the problems that are going through. So from March, Xolani went to Israel. So before I go further, as you know, in whatever project, there's also behind the scenes. So when I'm talking about behind the scenes, I'm talking umkhwekazi wethu. So uMakhumalo ubeya emsebenzini. So kufanele kusaleke umkhwekazi wethu agada abantwana. So I used to come up here in Johannesburg and then only find it Xolani sitting at home. So uMakhumalo has gone to work. So umkhwekazi wethu had to take over Kukuchek and make sure to Xolani udlile. And when I come there, we had to share. And the bantwana. So thanks, umkhwekazi wethu. We recognize that. And it has been difficult. So you've been seeing Xolani sick every day. So from the morning to the afternoon. So it was hard. It was not an easy thing. And for Makhumalo, they will phone me in Devon 1 o'clock and they say, hey, for to say, Ubi. Ngizophinde ngirecognize Dr. Okudo, so who's been an oncologist. He's been a brother to us. He was no longer a specialist or whatsoever. We will phone him anytime and he will help us with whatever tablets need to be taken. And also Dr. Emil Park, Morumo. So when Xolani was diagnosed and then it was found out that he had to be sorted out on his feet. So then he had to take a chance and do something on Xolani. So I was there, I took him out on the first phase, took him in, and then he sorted him out, it came out right. And then again I took him in, and then he sorted him out, and then everything went perfect. And then the rest happened. And then what happened was then after a few months, then we had to take Xolani to Israel. Again, Makhumalo said to me, M2, because Xolani is going there, no one knows how is he living, we don't know what's going to happen. Let's make a plan, go there and go check. She made a plan, booked the flight for me, made sure that he got somebody from the airport to go there and go see what Xolani is going to do. Then I went to Israel. And you know, the language barriers, everything, I didn't know where I was and what I was doing. But luckily when I came there, it was election day, so it was a little bit quiet. So it was going to be easy for me to ask, then I want to go to Tel Aviv, that's where we were staying. So then they got some help. So then I came back because he was a little bit comfortable and then things were going right. Until he came back again because he had a problem with the liver again. So the jaundice was giving hard time. So he phoned me, it was a Sunday, he said, hey, bro, things are not going right, so I'm coming back home. I said, then what's going to happen with the study? He said, hey, bro, I don't know. I just have to come back, unfortunately, because there was complication with the liver and all those things. And then Makhumalo phoned me saying, what can you do? How can I get your brother? Is he going to be able to come back on a flight? I said, okay, Makhumalo, let's be strong one more time. And then we took a chance. He flew back to Johannesburg, and then they had to send him to Mill Park for ICU. Now I'm in Devon. So I have to come to Johannesburg. Then we made the plan, we flew again to Durban, to Johannesburg. And then when I was there, they try and to put a stand into the liver. Then it worked. Again, then I went back to Durban. For the past 6 months, I work in Durban, but I have been at work. So, and then for the past 2 months, I've been staying here in Joburg. And I want to thank 2 brothers as well, Uputu Daniel and Malindi. They've made Johannesburg home. I don't know Johannesburg. I was hardly coming here. But because of the situation, I had to come and then see what I can do. So basically, that's what happened. So I want to thank those. And the rest, even my brother, the Dr. Gwala, because he's a brother. So sometimes I've been liaising with him to find out what's going on and all the chance to know, okay, my brother, we're taking care of things. Okay, take it easy, go to work. And I have to communicate at home because I'm the second brother to say, hey, how's the son? And all those things. And then I said, okay, yeah, I'll go to phone Makumalo later. How is he? And all those things. So thank you, Makumalo. Thank you, Makumalo. I know whatever happens, but I know what has happened. I've seen it from the time it started, 2017, up until today. You told me when I was in Durban, I had to go pick the parents. I think I was told on a Tuesday, and then only on the Thursday, he had to go to theater. By the time I came to Joburg, it was already opened. And the parents didn't take it easy, didn't take it nice. So it's been drama from 2017. But anyway, we have to take. So on that side, that's the medical side of Xolani. So he was a good brother. Then I'm going to go to the other side where you see Ntosanas and all. So, and then to tell you what I'm taking out of Xolani myself. Because if you notice, it says he was born in Ntosana. In Ntosana, for you who would never been that side, there's no school, there's no nothing. It's just a farm. So, but after 3 years, they moved to a place where there was a school. So in that school, there was no electricity, there was no nothing. So he started his primary there until he to standard three. That time there was this primary, it was divided into 2. There was a senior primary and a junior primary. Then he had to go to another primary again. Then he finished standard 5. I'm trying to put your pictures that there was no electricity there. And then in high school again, there was no electricity there. So, and then I think he started seeing the school with electricity when he met this guy that was saying at high school. So then he finished his matric there, and then he had to go to Durban to study his public relations. So what I'm trying to put onto you there is that it's not about what is available, it's about it's what we want and what we want to do in life. And love what we want to do and work hard. That's what my brother was saying to me. You know what? We don't have to say, I don't have this, I don't have, but do correctly and do something that we love. Then the rest will come through. Because Xolani, to us, he was not a celebrity, I can tell you. In fact, this thing of him so humble comes from my mother and my father. My mother is so sweet. Some of you will have a chance to come to KZN over the weekend, will see my mother. My mother is one of those who doesn't know media, nothing. It's just what he knows that he's got his kids. That's all what he has. So Xolani, what we'll do when he comes home. So Xolani is like, he doesn't want people to, to jump on his around. You know what to do? He just go sleep on the sofa and then put a rag and then act as if so quietly. So that's how he was. So for us as the brothers, we just what we want to take, that whatever that we want to do can do, as long as we put effort and understand what we do. Because for Xolani to start at Ntosana, I was speaking to Makumalo to say, hey, for him, for me, I've been following up with media and whatever, where he was working, I know where he was working. For him to start from Impendle and Ntosana, where there's no electricity, and to host a morning show in 702, and to have a choice to decide which station you want to go, it's a big thing. It's a big thing. It might be for us at Impendle, for those who will come to Impendle and say, you know what, Xolani worked hard. And as they say, if you see on this obituary there, there's no way he went to a white school. As the other guy was saying, his English was perfect. well, actually, ingane zomfazi azifani, so you might see mine English is not so as him, but ingane zomfazi. But him, he just focus and work hard. Because I followed up his career, Ukozi, up until 702. I know. So when he started 702, I saw him starting. And then when he came back, he was rocking the 702. So for him to go on the morning show, I believe the morning show is the best show ever in the country. So I thank my brother. He was with us. As a family, we lost big time because he was representing his community. You have understand? So everyone, Xolani would like, everyone would say, so that's how he was at home. And but he was a humble guy. We will, because normally what he'll do, he will fly to Durban and then I pick him up from airport. So we spend time. So we had good time with him. So he was close to me as a brother. I would know. But one thing with him, sometimes he wanted his own time. Sometimes he'll come to Durban. I would know if I'm in Durban, but it doesn't mean that I must keep phoning him, say, when are you coming to see me? No, he will tell you when he wants to see you. So he was a good brother to us. Thanks everybody for supporting him in whatever that he was doing here in Johannesburg. We appreciate it. That we lost him, we still can't believe it. I was there with him when he passed on. I was with him at the ward. I passed on Friday because, as I'm saying, I've been staying here in Joburg for past month. So I haven't been at work, so they know. I phoned them, say, yeah. So I've been staying at his house. So in the morning I'd go check him, try to help him in whatever way, because I was hoping that my brother would still make it. Unfortunately, on Friday, one, then he passed on. But other than that, I want to thank everybody who supported in any way. Please carry on to others as well. Siyabonga kakhulu singamaphephetho. On my side, ngithi Xolani mfowethu uhambe kahle uze usikhonzele komkhulu. Siyabonga kakhulu. Bye bye.
Thank you so much. You're very brave, my brother. And I just feel that what you just captured is the humble beginning of Xolani's life, but the gentle giant that he became to inspire a lot of South Africans. Anything is possible. You could be from anywhere in the world. And he'll forever live in our hearts. I think the two things that will always remind me of Xolani is Super Setu's beautiful big eyes. They are her father's eyes. And your big, bold voice. Every time you speak, it's always a gentle reminder that he's always with us. So thank you very much for that beautiful, beautiful, brave tribute that you have paid to your brother. And we thank the Galas and the Kumalos for being here today as we pay tribute. So now we're going into the final segment, and I would like to thank you all for your patience and just being here with the family, because they definitely appreciate your support. I'm going to call upon Cindy Kawasukonyana, who's going to speak as part of the Kumalo family, and she's going to pay her tribute to our dear brother, Xolani Gwala.
As I stand here today, I was led to reflect that actually the last time I had to speak at this church was a send-off of a very dear friend of ours, Zoto Zungu. It was actually at the old section, who had fought cancer for 10 years until she gave in. In fact, she didn't give in, and because she fought. She fought till the end. And that's the fight that I saw Usbari Wami put up. I guess that 10 years was my point of reference when we heard that he was sick. And to have walked only 2 years was something that really caught us by surprise, and our hopes were shattered because we also saw someone who put up an amazing fight. I met Xolani for the first time at Asikhulume show when I was invited to speak on gender equality. I continued to watch and listen to him in awe. As everybody has indicated, I won't delve into that anymore, but looking at his skill, professionalism, work ethic, but most importantly, the humility, the respect, where even when he conducted very intricate, delicate, and controversial interviews, he would do that without being combative and having to rattle the person on the other side. Around 2014, this man swept my little sister off her feet. She was in love. Within a year, in December 2015, we were in Newcastle, Samugela Bakwenyana welcoming the Gwala family at the traditional wedding. In 2016, Sipho Setu was born. 1 year into Setu's life, Mr. X, as my children have fondly called him, was diagnosed with cancer. I remember that night when Sisi called me, crying uncontrollably to say, what have I done? And it was a very, very, very sad day and painful moment. That was the start of a journey which Nonhlanhla walked with XG in and out of hospital. And ngiyabonga Bhuti Ndlu, because I think you were the first person who touched on Uma. Because Uma Khumalo is the person I would like to hail, who had to move back in with Nonhlanhla, XG, to look after XG. Ma, you were a pillar of strength. In fact, people wonder how traditional the family, even the Khumalos, are. We are very traditional. Uma would not go anywhere near Xolani after they got married. If she got into an area and Xolani was there, she'll run away. Athi phela mntanami akufanele mina ngibonakale la khona umkhwenyana. Umkhwenyana uyahlonishwa. However, came a time la athi uma mntanami angisakwazi ukwenza njani because this thing is in my hands. Because now Uma could not run away from Xolani in being where he is. So against tradition, she's the one who had to wake up in the morning and go and knock on Xolani's door, something that is not done as umkhwekazi. But we had to get to that point where if he had not been up for some time, she had the responsibility of checking ukuthi unjani, to the extent of having to hold him when she needed to, especially was Usisi was at work, and when he'll need to be rushed to hospital during the day, she had to hold umkhwenyana wakhe, something that she said, "Sebongixolela kaGwala." I do not know how it's like to be a spouse to someone who is ill with cancer. I think maybe most of us probably have not walked that journey that Usisi at her age had to walk. Sisi, You walked this journey. And truly, if Uma was not there, I don't know how you would have coped. As Abentungwa, we are blessed and graceful and grateful that God placed Usisi in the life of XG at such a critical part of his life. You were the chosen one to be there, because most of your life with XG has been about his illness. You had very little time to enjoy each other as a couple. That was God's gift to you. You embraced this responsibility with grace. Walking the journey you've walked in the last 2 years, and now in his passing, this has been a difficult journey. And as the Khumalo family, we'd like to reach out to all of you who've been supportive in this time. Your love, your time, your patience, and a number of messages of encouragement. We are truly grateful. We may have fallen short in embracing your love. Forgive us. We are not perfect. We all react differently when rattled and find ourselves pressed against life's bitter cup. This is when we need your prayers more. We need your prayers that we all stay graceful, and that God's grace and love never leaves us, even when we think we cannot carry on. XG was a national asset, So we know we grieve with everyone. And as we grieve, we also grieve differently. So we pray that you find it in your hearts to be tender where wounds are still open. That we can forgive and this then led me to the Philippians chapter 4 verse 7, where it says, may the peace of God that surpasses all understanding be with our hearts and minds. And that's what I wish for all of us at this moment. Tusiphe sihle, Ngwali, Nobuhle, and Sipho Sethu. I'm reminded of the words of Victor Hugo that say, do not weep, my children. I'm not going very far. I shall see you from there. You will only have to look at night and you will see me smile. And to Sbarwam, to live in the hearts we leave behind is not to die, as Thomas Campbell would say. And to you, Sisi, Mamtung, as I end, take it one day at a time. I shared that song with you this week. May God give you the strength to do what you have to do, one day at a time. Kuba Pepete, Mauma Zuma, in her absence, but Putimtu, whom we've walked this journey with, Samsana Espedlela, siyabonga ukusivumela ukuthi sihambe le ndima nani ezinsukwini zokugcina zempilo kaXolani. May the peace of God that surpasses all understanding be with us all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sister, for that beautiful, beautiful tribute of our dear beloved Xolani Gwala. So I'm going to call upon Mr. Daniel Naledi, a man who really traveled this journey with us as a family, especially the darkest of hours. He was that light that was shining through the family, encouraging us, supporting us, holding our hands. And it is with great pleasure to call him up on the podium so that he can say his words of tribute to Xolani Gwala.
Thank you very much, Program Directors, Modisa Squared. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of the First Lady and thank you very much for taking the time to be with us here today and comfort us. The Gwala family, Khumalo family, friends and colleagues of Xolani, I have the honor and privilege to say a few words on behalf of the Khumalo family. I come to this honor because Peggy Sue's older uncles, who'd have been the rightful owners of this task, are no longer with us. So a youngish family friend was asked. As we gather here today and in bidding a final farewell to a dear friend, Xolani, the Khumalo family would like to convey its sincere and heartfelt appreciation and gratitude to all of you who have come today, but also to other South Africans that are not in this church, but who we know are with us in spirit. The Khumalo family drew strength from the outpour of grief and pain from the tributes and the salutes that came from across the entire spectrum of society and is deeply grateful for this support. No words could ever express their appreciation and how overwhelmed they are by the support that came with the many, many messages, public and private, during this very difficult time. Your support, your encouraging words, your thoughts and prayers mean a great deal. The unprecedented reaction to the news of Xolani Gwala's passing bears testimony to what and how much XG meant to so many people whose lives he has touched with his work by showing genuine interest and concern for the issues confronting listeners and society as a whole. We have heard from the obituary and from the many speakers that spoke about Xolani today, who spoke about his work ethic, the consummate professional he was, his sharp and constantly inquisitive mind, his humility, how respectful he was, all of which earned him much admiration and love inside and well beyond 702 and his previous places of work. Very few people I have met commanded Xolani's presence, and that disarming smile and the infectious laugh that so many people have mentioned and talked about will be missed dearly. It almost seems like Xolani had an inkling that he didn't have much time. He packed so much into his 44 years, achieving so much and leaving such a giant footprint that many with double the amount of time at their disposals were not able to. It is of course not easy for the family to accept such great loss, as Mdu has indicated as well just now. And while we know that he's in a better place and free of pain and suffering, it was just too early to already let him go. Those of you and us and the family who walked the very difficult journey of the last 2 years with Xolani always knew that his diagnosis was very serious and that the odds were stacked up against him quite a bit, but refused to give up hope for that miracle that would have saved his life and kept him in our midst. We drew much encouragement and inspiration inner hope from the way in which he was leading the battle from the front with his very positive attitude. His strength of character and positive attitude were very humbling. I recall a particular visit to him at Mill Park Hospital, which was actually less than 24 hours after major surgery. He was in ICU. I was very nervous and very anxious as to how I would find him. He greeted me with that broad smile of his, gave me a very detailed account of how the operation went. It was almost as if he was there and covering the story as a reporter. Very matter of fact, but also, and I think Ridge also alluded to that earlier, displaying deep knowledge of the disease and what he was facing in the subject matter. Some of the issues I didn't understand and were afraid to ask him, because I thought, man, this guy shouldn't be talking that much. He needs to rest. He shouldn't be saying that much. But then from there, he swiftly switched, of course, into his favorite topics of current affairs and politics, even asking me things like, whether I was worried about the nationalization of the Reserve Bank and things like that. And the man, literally within 24 hours of a very, very major operation. And it was as if he felt that these are issues that might come up in his next row, and he needed to make sure that he kind of stayed on top of issues. That is just how positive and how his enormous fighting spirit and determination came out. And just in May this year, when he was on a break from his treatment in Israel, and it was actually, if I recall, on the last day of that break, he was actually due to fly back that very same evening. A small group of us had a drive for him, and again, he pretty much knocked us off all our socks, not only by how well he actually looked, but also how well he spoke, very inspirational, full of hope. And then when I saw him at Morningside Clinic just after he returned from Israel, he again gave me an account of what must have been a very terrifying trip back home, and only soon thereafter to go back to discussing the issues of the day. After that visit, I recall sending a WhatsApp to Peggy Sue with the following message. Usual XG magic, you visit a very sick man and you come back feeling healed from talking to him. That is the caliber of the man. He staged a phenomenal battle and confronted his disease head on, fought with immense courage and bravery, even during the very tough last 2 weeks, and Mdu touched on some of the very difficult moments there. Xolani fought against insurmountable odds, baffling his doctors and almost defying medical science. To the Gwala family, we share your pain and your loss. You have raised a fine man, and the Kumala family was blessed to have him as a Mkhwenyana and a great husband to Peggy Sue and a loving father to his children. And at this point, I would like to echo some of the sentiments expressed by Sis Cindy just now, and pay a very special tribute to Mama Kumalo. She only had one child, and with Xolani's arrival was obviously blessed with a son, and was very happy about that. And we really, the way in which she took care of Xolani, the loving care she gave him, and as Sis Cindy mentioned, effectively relocating from KwaZulu-Natal to be here for him at all times was most exceptional, and I'm sure, and I'm really convinced that that allowed us to have XG with us a little bit longer than we thought we would. Mama, for me, you are a heroine. I really, really bow my head to you and pay tribute for what you've done for Xolani. And I just want to assure the family as well, especially the Gwala family members, that would not have had the opportunity to travel to Gauteng to see him on a frequent basis. I just want to assure you that Xolani was in the best hands with Peggy Sue and Mama Khumalo. He received the most affectionate care and love at home, and the best medical treatment he could have received from the best doctors and medical teams, and no stone was left unturned in the search for solutions for his disease. The Khumalo family would like you to know that Xolani will always be in our hearts, and then we will work hard to preserve his huge legacy, which has been a source of inspiration for so many. As you would know, in the very short time that he was in remission, he wasted no time to get involved on a grand scale in cancer awareness campaigns, and this legacy we have committed to him that we will preserve, and I'm glad to inform you that many have already come forward offering support for the future efforts to preserve his legacy and celebrate his life, a life well lived. The family also wishes to extend its gratitude to all that have lent a hand in the last few days with the various arrangements, including arranging and conducting the prayer services, this memorial services, as well as the funeral on Saturday in Impendle. Again, also thanking 702 for honoring Xolani by arranging the additional memorial service that, as you heard, will be taking place tomorrow. I see many faces here, and I could mention a number of names, but allow me just to say thank you so much for whatever you have done, the role you have played and continue to play. A debt of gratitude, if I can echo the sentiments from the Gwala family as well, is owed to his medical team that fought so tirelessly for and with him, and you heard from Dr. Gude this morning, and including the wonderful caregivers at Morningside, Millpark and Donald Gordon hospitals. Their dedication and commitment to ensure that XG was as comfortable as he could be given his circumstances, was a source of great comfort for the family. We also want to sincerely thank XG's and Pegasu's close friends who have been a tremendous pillar of support through their presence, messages of encouragement, hospital visits, and many gestures of support along the way. Let me close by just saying that the tears of painful loss will soon give way to tears of joy as we come to realize that we can count ourselves fortunate to have walked part of the road with XG. We are truly blessed to have had XG in our lives and will continue to uphold his legacy which lives on. Thank you for extending so much love and support to the Khumalo family, and on behalf of Pegisu, Mama Khumalo, the children, and the broader family, Siyabonga Kakhulu. May his wonderful soul rest in eternal peace.
Thank you very much. It's no secret that Xolani Gwala was a big supporter of Kaizer Chiefs. But a little known secret is that Peggy Khumalo was a supporter of Orlando Pirates. So the Soweto jerseys in the house will always be very, very interesting. And we just received a message of condolence from Kaizer Chiefs, which I'll just read a little bit of. I won't read the whole letter, I'll share it with the family. But dear family, we have received the passing of Xolani Gwala with heavy hearts. We still cannot believe that this outstanding media personality is no more. Death, the thief, has robbed South Africa of a talented and gentleman of the airwaves. The family has lost a very important branch in their family tree. Our thoughts goes out to the family at this stage. This is a beautiful tree of Kaizer Chiefs. So, as I continue to represent, to receive representatives from the family, I would like to call Mama Nomasondo Kubega, who's going to speak from her heart as part of the Kumalo family. I think Kumalo has been such a pillar of strength in his journey. When the girls are at school, when the baby's at work, when everything is going, Kumalo has always been that pillar of strength. And without her, we wouldn't be anywhere. And we always remind her that God will be your children. Sometimes you might go astray, but you have to reel us in. But I think that the Gwala family has expressed how thankful they are for how you look after their son. But also as your other children, we just admire you and we truly love you. So my mama sometimes going to say something from the mother family.
Ngibingelela umndeni wakwaGwala, ngibingelele umndeni wakaKhumalo, ngibingelele izikhulu zethu eziphezulu ezikhona ngaphakathi kwale ndawo. Ngokukhethekile ngibingelele uMrs Gwala uNhlanhla. Egameni lenkosi yami Jesu Kristu nonke ngiyanibingelela, amen. Ngithatha leli thuba uma ngime la, ngime endaweni kamama kaMakhumalo. Umama kaMakhumalo ungicelile ukuthi ngimele la, wathi mzala anginawo amandla. Ukube nginamandla ngabe ngiyazimela mina ngizikhulumele, manje amandla anginawo. So mndeni wakwaGwala, uma ngime la ngizothi kini phephisana, ngizoniphephisela. Nimbonile umkhwenyana egula, kakhulukazi umkhwenyana wena obuhlala naye esibhedlela. Uzibonele ngokwakho impi ilwa naye umkhwenyana, impi ubona ubuka, nihleli noNhlanhla nobabili esibhedlela. Ngiloku ngifona ngibuza, hayibo mzala umkhwenyana unjani? Athi hey mzala iyalwa impi. So mndeni wakwaGwala, xolani, inhliziyo zenu aziphole, ngoba impi mayilwa kufanelekile ukuba kube khona ehlulwayo igoba uphondo. Kobileke uphondo eyakwaGwala ekulweni kwempi. Ngibonge kakhulu umzala wami nondodakazi ebengithi mangifona umkhwenyana eselapha endlini, athi hey mzala ukhona umkhwenyana ubuyile esibhedlela, ukhona lapha endlini. Ungakamcinike kakhulu ngalesikhathi njengoba sekumcina manje kuze kuhamba naye. Athi ukhona lapha endlini, nginaye kodwa angifanelekile ukuthi ngisondele kuye umkhwenyana. Kodwa manje ngesimo engibhekene naso angikwazi ukumyekelela umntakaGwala adliwe ukufa. Kufanele ngimuphe ukudla, ngelinye ilanga uyadla, ngelinye ilanga akakuthandi ukudla. Ngibhekene naleso simo mzala wami, ngithi mzala wami ayikho into ongayenza, ngoba ngeke umyeke umkhwenyana afe ukhona. Ngizamile-ke ngayo yonke imizamo. Ngithi-ke thina singabakwaKhumalo siqemeke nathi enkulu ingozi engeqwantwana, ngoba besisalindele ukuthi sizommikisa lo mntwana wethu kwaGwala, simmikise ngomshado ngendlela, simmikise ngendlela eyabonke abantu emzini yabantu bashade abantu, kepha uNkulunkulu ngecebo lakhe akavumanga. Angeke simblame naye uNkulunkulu. Wenza akuthandayo ngesikhathi asithandayo ngumuntu wakhe. Akusenzekanga ukuthi indodakazi yethu siyimikise ngomshado kwaGwala. Xolani ke bantu bakwaGwala, Nkosi yami, pholisani imimoya, yehlisani imimoya. Siyabonga manibona ukuthi umntwana wethu uwenzile umsebenzi abezowuyela kwaGwala. Uwenzile wawufeza, ezama naye ukuthi azafike kulela khaya lakwaGwala, kepha uhlulekile ngesenzo sikaNkulunkulu ukuthi naye azayofika ngaphakathi emabaleni akwaGwala aniphekele bantu bakwaGwala. Ngithi nhlanhla abantwana laba bazokhula, uNkulunkulu engumncedi wakho nabakwaGwala, abantwana bazokhula. uNkulunkulu akakususa ukuphila kumuntu, uqamba amasu. Zowaqamba uNkulunkulu amasu ukuthi labantwana bakhule nabo baze bakwazi ukuthi bafike ezingeni lokuthi bayafunda baqeda isikolo. uNkulunkulu enawe nabakwaGwala nibabhekile labantwana, nibambisene ngalabantwana. Ngiyethemba ukuthi nisazoqhubeka nibambisane noma umkhwenyana engasekho umndeni wakwaGwala, nizobambisana labantwana ukuze bakhule, nibambisene nondodakazi wethu. Mzala, phephisa ngomkhwenyana. Ukuba ubukwazi ukubamba umphefumulo, ngabe ubambile. Ngifonile ngelinye ilanga, ngifonela uNhlanhla. Wathi uNhlanhla, mama ngikho esibhedlela. Angikho ngisesibhedlela, ngo-1 ebusuku nami ngiphelele ubuthongo. Wathi angikho ngisesibhedlela. Kanti sekuyizinsuku zokugcina. Phephisa ntombazane yami. Phephisa, uNkulunkulu khona. Phephisa nawe mkhwenyana obuhleli udela umsebenzi wakho. Wahlala kulesa sibhedlela. Ugada umfowenu. Unethemba ukuthi uzophila. Umuntu noma ngaze agule kangakanani emhlabeni, awuyitsheli umuntu ukuthi uyahamba emhlabeni. Uba nethemba ukuthi uzophila. Ithemba uyalibeka kumuntu ukuthi uzophila. Kepha kanti uNkulunkulu ngaso sonke leso sikhathi amaplani akhe yena usewaplanile uqedile. Angeke futhi aphikiswe umuntu. Ngilo ngishilo ngithi phephisani mndeni wakwaGwala. Siyabonga kubo bonke abasingathile, kubo bonke abadele amakhaya abo bazohlala nathi sukile ekseni kuze kushaye lesikhathi samanje. Siyanibonga kakhulu. Athi lapha uNkulunkulu ezincwadini zikaJohane 16 uverse 28 athi ngavela kuBaba ngeza ezweni, ngiyalishiya futhi izwe ngibuyela kuBaba. Nomubani ke usazolishiya lelizwe eza kulo abuyele kuBaba, ngoba asihleli ingunophakade ezweni lasemhlabeni, sebolekisiwe. Inkosi inibusise. Amen.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I've been tasked with having another little co-pilot, and she just feels that this is her stage as well. But before we have the closing statement, which will be a reflection of the children's tribute, I'm going to ask upon a dear friend of ours, Makwena Kausela, who has also been another key anchor to the family in such a trying time. It's been a tough, it's no longer 80 days, it's now gone further. But the past few weeks have been the most trying. And losing Xolani that morning on Friday, the squad was there waiting to just anchor Pegisu and carry her. And so Makoina is a dear friend, and she's just going to say a few words as part of the family, the Kumalo family.
The Gwala family, the Kumalo family, Mama, Ramaphosa, thank you for being there. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for taking this day to join us as we celebrate the life of Xolani Gwala. And what an amazing life it was. Xolani has left us with many memorable moments to celebrate, and we are eternally grateful for you being here to celebrate with us. I stand here in front of you today as a close friend to the Kumalo family. Thank you so much, Cindy, because when I wrote this message, I thought I should dedicate this to acknowledge Mama and Pegisu for the part they've taken in Xolani's life. Mama, Pegisu, I'd like to thank you for welcoming me in your home, me and my family, in your personal space. I was also privileged to have been invited in Xolani's life through Pegisu, especially the trust and the confidence they've given me to share this journey as Xolani fought the cancer battle. It's been hell. I don't think of you, Pegisu, as a friend anymore. Actually, Mama Lillian asked me as I was sitting there to say, am I your sister? And I said, no, I'm a close friend. It's like, oh, you look so alike. So to be looking alike, I must be beautiful. Because you are beautiful. And you've got a beautiful soul. So, because I'm standing here as your sister, it's for this reason that it's particularly hard for me to stand here today, because I'm acutely aware of your pain. PSK, I'm in awe of your strength, and I struggle to understand how are you still standing. But I know that your strength comes from God, and that you're standing on the shoulders of a high power. I've watched the last 2 years take their toll on you, on Mama, and on the kids. I've watched you bravely navigate being a wife, being a daughter, being a mother, being a friend, and being a boss lady, and a mentor to so many young lives, selflessly giving all those around you while you were struggling through your own personal hell. At times I fear for your own health. And as I watched you give so selflessly of yourself, I worried about the toll it's taking on you. To be a dutiful partner to Xolani, you never missed a hospital visit. To provide your children with some sense of normalcy during this period. Hell-bent on ensuring that these kids don't lose hope. I watched you bravely navigate through the new career, through these difficulties. I've watched you smile when you wanted to break down but couldn't, because so many of us depended on your strength. None of us can claim to understand what you've been through. I dare anyone to raise their hand, because this has been real hell. But you did it gracefully, with love. I even watched you offering your own organs. I've watched you talking to Dr. Ogude and say, please take my liver. Please take anything. I just want to save his life. I've watched you cry till your eyes are dry. You knew all the medical terms. I often had to Google just to understand what you're talking about. You knew all the doctors all over the world, being in New York, being in Europe, being in Israel. You knew all the hospital staff by their names because that was your second home. How could you give so selflessly of yourself? How could you? How could you, babes? Mama, how can I forget you? You took care of your mpanyana, as you always called him. You made sure that he was comfortable, that he was always fed, even on days he didn't feel like eating, and that he was never alone when Peggy Sue was busy navigating her life. Your role in Xolani's life should never be underestimated. Your support for PSK and Xolani was so insurmountable and doesn't go unnoticed, Mama. Thank you for being PSK's safe place when life asked too much of her. Thank you for being XG's comforter. Thank you for making sure that he's comfortable. My ask of you, PSK and Mama, is that you allow us all to be here for you now, in your time of need. Cancer is a horrible disease, and it's brutal to watch someone you love battle with it. He fought to the last minute, and you savaged his dignity. But his battle is over now, and he has won. We entrust his spirit to God and ask that he rests in eternal peace. Rest in peace, dear Xolani, and trust that PSK, the kids, and Mama are not alone. We're here for them, and I promise, we will keep safe of your memory, Xolani, to ensure that the children always remember you. As Gandhi says, we love them. They are not alone in this. Rest now. There are no goodbyes for us. Wherever you are, you'll always be in our hearts. I thank you.
Thank you very much for that heartfelt contribution. And I'm going to pull apart, this is the final and last, but I think most special treat, which is a message from the children. And I'm going to pull apart Caesar from what I think will bring up Nobuhle, because dear Sipa Setu is also up with us on stage. And she said she wanted to say something about Daddy.
Daddy's my favorite. I love him so much. It's Daddy's birthday today. This is Daddy's box. I love it so much. He's my favorite.
Thank you, Angel.
Good afternoon to the Gwala family. Good afternoon to the Kumalo family, our First Lady, family and friends. This afternoon I will be reading messages from Xolani's daughters. The first message is from Nwali and Sipesihle, who couldn't be here with us because of school. And it reads as follows. A son, a brother, a father, a partner, a legend, and above all, a friend. Whenever we think of our dad, the first thing that comes to our mind was his contagious love. He was a happy person who could make anyone, including us, smile from ear to ear. He'd always tell us his cringe-worthy dad jokes, which we'd always tell him we hated, but secretly we loved them. Something we really admired about our dad was how understanding he was. Whenever we'd tell him something we were sure would infuriate him, He would only listen to us with interest, understanding, and absolutely no judgment. This made it easy for him to not only be our dad, but be a best friend. Dad was generous and caring, whose family and friend meant the absolute world to him. If anything, he taught us how to be there for each other through thick and thin, unconditionally. In the early morning of the 1st of November, Xolani gained his angel wings, and from that day to the rest of our days, he was and always will be our guardian angel. Just as you loved us, we love you, and we will always be grateful for you. Lala kakuhle mphephethu. Ngcwali Mabanda and Sipesihle Nokilani. The second message is from Nobuhle and Setu. Dear Daddy, we miss you and all our special times together, our tickle attacks, and do you remember all our 5-second rule every time Mommy was serving dinner? Our hearts are not well because every day we wake up, you are not with us. Even Simba, our little dog, is wondering where you are. Seeing your beautiful face in our playroom every morning makes us close to you. Mommy says you are home with God and you will live with us. We will live for you and make you proud. As Beyonce said in her song, Heaven. But heaven couldn't wait for you. No, heaven couldn't wait for you. So, go on, go home. We love you, Daddy. Thank you.
I love Daddy so much. I love him really much. I love him with my heart all the time. Because you're my favorite. Oh, my favorite. I love him so much. Because I really love him. I love him so much. Like a nut.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Angel. Do you want to say anything else? No. Okay? No. Great. Caesar, thank you so much. And to read the final tribute, I think Peggy Sue would have loved to, but it's a very difficult time for her, for the family. And I'm going to call her beloved friend Yolanda Mia, and she's going to read out Peggy Sue's tribute to her husband, her best friend, and her love and her light. Thank you, Lana.
When you have to write a love letter, saying goodbye to the love of your life, it's impossible to stand up here and read it. Please, you've asked me to do an impossible task, and I really pray for God's grace that you receive her words the way they were intended to be received. Gone too soon. Having to pen this final love letter to you, my love, is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. Let me start by thanking all our friends, family, and the greater South African public for the outpouring of love over the past 5 days. It has been an extraordinary time, and each story you've shared will hold Xolani alive keep Xolani alive in our hearts and memories. I met this charming giant of a man with a disarming baritone 5 years ago when we were introduced by one of my best friends, the late Duma Ndebele. Xolani became my best friend. I had known him as a smooth yet stern TV and radio host. Up close, he was smooth, gentle, and loving. He showed me the kind of love that dreams are made of. I rested in his arms, knowing that for the first time, I'd found my soulmate. He was inspiring, both in public and even more so in private. He brought moral clarity to everything he did, and his purpose was pure, to help those among us who needed it the most. We planned fun outings, mostly to KZN, and he introduced me to much cooler music than what I thought I knew. His favorite song on those long drives, meandering through the mountains and hills of Impendle to his homestead was Say Now by Zonke. We had 2 truly joyful years of the deepest love, happiest times, and truest partnership that I could ever imagine. Xolani gave me the exclusive experience of being deeply understood, truly supported, and completely and utterly loved, and I will carry that with me always. Most importantly, he gave me the most amazing children in this world. Xolani was my rock. When I got upset, he stayed calm. When I was worried, he assured me that it would be okay. When I wasn't sure what to do, he figured it out. He was completely dedicated to his children in every way. And their strength these past few days is the best sign I could have that Xolani is still here with us in spirit. Xolani and I did not get nearly enough time together. In our second year of love and bliss, cancer disrupted and rocked our world to its very core. Like an unwelcome guest, an unexpected thief in the night, and a cold-hearted robber, it rattled our love nest. It was on the 4th of September, 2017, just 4 months after he returned home with a medal from the London Marathon, when doctors confirmed that my ex-G had stage 4 colon cancer. His cancer journey superseded all our dreams and our hopes. Dreams to walk down the aisle with XG. Dreams to build and raise a beautiful family. Dreams to conquer together. Dreams to sit on the sidelines and cheer him on as he continues to build on his legacy for us and for the country. The cancer diagnosis was sudden and unexpected, but he reassured me that he was gearing up for a fight. It's going to be a very difficult fight and a long fight, but I'm ready for a fight, he told me. Xolani enjoyed so much in battling the illness that eventually claimed his life. His cancer was aggressive, it was brutal, and Xolani waged the biggest fight of his life, underpinned with bravery, courage, and the most powerful might and will to conquer and to live. This battle fueled his stubbornness, determination, and strengthened his resolve. It stiffened his backbone and awakened the warrior in him. He demonstrated deep resilience as he remained a kind and loving human being right until the very end. He taught us all what quiet grace is and what heroism really looks like. As heartbroken as I am today, I'm equally grateful. Even in the last weeks of completely unexpected hell, the darkest and saddest moments of my life, I knew how lucky I have been. If someone had told me that Xolani would be taken from my soul in just less than 5 years, I would still have fallen in love with him. The 5 years of being Xolani Gwala's partner and of being a parent with him is perhaps more luck and more happiness than I could have ever imagined. I'm grateful for every moment we had. As we remember the love of my life today, we will only lay to rest his body. His spirit, his soul, his amazing ability to give is still with us. It's in the stories people are sharing of how he touched their lives, in the love that is visible in the eyes of our family and friends, and in the spirit and resilience of our children. And things will never be the same, but the world is better for the years my beloved Xolani lived. He bequeaths a legacy of courageous journalism that is emphatic and not arrogant. Emphatic and not arrogant, that speaks truth to power and fights for the ordinary people. He was a fierce champion of truth, justice, and kindness. My love had the honor and privilege of interviewing world leaders, captains of industry, shapeshifters, and political leaders, with the exception of Donald Trump, of course. The one and only interview that I know was his wish was Xolani Gwala interviewing Peggy Sukumalo as the new CEO of Standard Bank Welfare Center. We were robbed of that opportunity, and knowing the consummate professional he was, there would have been no mercy when we meet, my love. To my beloved Xolani, I wish you peace and comfort after such a courageous battle with cancer. Your legacy as a talk, radio, and current affairs legend is forever cemented in the history of our country, continent, and the world. To honor and preserve your legacy, we will launch the Xolani Gwala Foundation with a focus on cancer awareness, access to testing for early detection, and funding for treatment. We will also pursue funding for young aspiring broadcasters and journalists. It is also our wish as a family that Prime Media 702 considers keeping the Xolani Gwala show as part of our legacy, but also provide the show a platform to educate our society broadly on cancer awareness and the need for early detection, and how together we can help fund treatment to cancer patients. Hamba kahle. Lala ngoxolo, Daddy. Love, sithandwa sami, Gwala, Impendle. Rest in eternal love and peace. Our children are our messengers to the future, and that message is hope. With undying love, Peggy Sue and your angel girls.
It's a very sad day for many of us. And I think as Assistant speaks, you have been trying very hard not to hold my tears. But I just want you to know, Peggy Sue, that it is God's time, it is God's will. He will carry us through this time. God's will, God knows why He did this, but you should continue to praise Him and hold Him up in prayer. You and the girls will grow up to show the world who you are. And I'm glad that such an occasion gives rise to cancer awareness. His final moments of life were the most painful to watch. We feel wrong as a family. And this is the time when we just have to hold our faith in God and believe that He will always be with us. So I'd like to thank you all for coming here, celebrating Xolani's life. And we just want to know that we will do our level best to ensure that this evil disease is one that is not going to target the most vulnerable in our society. We live in a society where not a lot of people have the privilege that we had, with the best doctors, best medical aids. Even that could not save his life. But we're going to make sure that as a family, we will go out there and ensure that the most vulnerable out there who have this treacherous disease, they will not be left alone, because we know and we have traveled that journey with them. Tim, I'd like to thank you very much, Katia, for walking this journey with us as we celebrate Mr. X, Xolani Gwala, XG, father, husband, friend, colleague. And I'm just going to do a few acknowledgements of those who have been with us along this journey, those who have come up with their prayers, those who have provided food to the family in such a trying time, those who have just called me to send you a simple message of comfort. We would like you to know that any little note that has been written, anything that has been said, we hold dear to our hearts. And then I will also, as we close, I'm going to call upon Father Moses and Reverend Claudia. You know, they've also been very instrumental, but I will call you upon once I've done the acknowledgements.
Well, thank you too, Martin. And of course, this has been a very painful, terrible time for the family, and you've been on this difficult journey for some time. But the message is loud and clear from the speakers that we heard from today, that not only did Xolani touch South Africa in such a profound way, but he also left a lot of lessons through the way he lived his life. And if there's any better legacy that I think is left, it's the legacy of those lessons that we had so much about this afternoon. I'd like to thank all the speakers who took part here and prepared those speeches, and everybody who has been very patient with the proceedings up to this time, as we extend once more our sympathies and condolences to the Gwala and Kumar families, Peggy Sue and the children. And 702, we know tomorrow is going to pull up a big one, giving South Africans an opportunity to also express how they feel about their beloved hero, Xolani Gwala. And thanks again for having looked up his name even when he was going through the difficult time that he was going through. We appreciate that. And many South Africans are not here, but I'm sure they'll join me tomorrow to say that. And again, when it gets to Impendle, we know that the fellow compatriots in KZN will also pitch up in numbers to give him a hero send-off. The Marona, Dr. Sandton, valuable. You were patient with us at this time, as well as extending the support that you had. And everybody else who looked up at Xolani, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor. Could that be possible? This journey would not have been possible without the acknowledgement of the following people and organizations. So Father Moses Tebete from the St. Michael's Anglican Church, thank you very much. Xolani was part of your parish. He shared his stories, he shared his journey, and we welcome your prayers, because they have taken us as far and they'll continue to take us further as we journey on without you. Reverend Claudia Costas, we thank you, St. Mary's, for being there for the family. We know that Norwegian has a lot of support. We'll be getting a lot of letters from the school. A lot of the little ones don't know how to really encourage their little friend in such a trying time. But all the calls that are coming through from the mothers of St. Mary's, we would like to thank you very much for all that support. To Our Lady of Lourdes Rivonia Catholic Church, who's hosting us today, and also knowing that Xolani was a son of the Catholic, thank you very much for your hospitality. We really do appreciate everything that you have done for the family. We would like to thank Two Mountains for their sterling job in bringing this beautiful memorial and also everything else that we're doing for the funeral. We would really like to extend our thank you for everything that you have done. St. Michael's Anglican Church, I have indicated that Father Moses and the entire parish have been very supportive. In their state asset management, they've been very supportive. As much as CBC was a daughter of their state until last year, which was captured by Standard, they will continue to be a family. And we just want to thank them very much. It's the asset management and also investing at large. The phone calls from Stephen Kosek, from Richard, and everybody else that did DT and all the support that did Kumon. We really like to thank you for ensuring that, the family still feels like it's part of the family. I mean, Bobuhle was born into investing, Sipho was born into investing, and it's times like these we really see the people that really have loved and cherished and nurtured Peggy Sue. We thank you very much for that. Standard Bank, South Africa, Peggy Sue's new home. We also would like to extend our thank you. You've been very supportive. A lot of the people from the office, they're here today, they're ensuring that everybody has water. So we're very, very fortunate to have such great families. We call them banks, but to some of us they're families, and it's times like these when we really feel that we are nurtured as a family. Friends of Peggy Sue and Xolani Gwala know that this is endless. A lot of them have spoken, but there are many that didn't have the opportunity to speak today. But we know that what they carry in their hearts, those memories, those moments that they shared with the family, will forever be cherished. We'll take them with us as we continue on our path. And like I said, there's two things that will always remind me of Xolani. Sipho Sethu's beautiful big eyes and Lou's big bold voice. Every time I look into her eyes or hear Lou's voice, will always just say, XG, you are with us and you're the room. And one of the things I told the girls is that on Friday the 1st of November, his dad's birthday in heaven, will always be with us. He's an angel, and he must always be beautiful, impeccable with your words, because he's always watching you. We would like to thank Radio 702 and all the other media houses that Xolani has touched, has been part of, all the people that he's mentored, all the people that he's encouraged. We really love the fact that you nurtured him into his career. Your platforms are the reasons why he's such a giant, and that our country has really lost. The outpour from the public has been amazing, because we feel that a nation was touched, a nation was hurt. And also lastly, I'd like to thank Felix from Innovator Legacy Media. Not Prime Angel, thank you. Felix was kind enough to provide us the sound system, even though the fourth industrial revolution did challenge us a little bit today. But I believe that Xolani would have been so proud of us today. As a family, we come together, and such occasions are really going to build our solid fiber. Let us live, let us forgive, let us just live and abide the spirit of Xolani, who was a gentle giant. So as we conclude this beautiful celebration of his life, I would like to call upon Father Moses and Reverend Claudia, and they will give us their closing prayers and remarks. We welcome you onto the stage.
As I am here as the school chaplain specifically for Nabuki and soon to be Sipho Sethu as well, we thought it appropriate that I pray for all 4 children first. So let us pray. Lord, we thank you for the gift of Twali, Sipho Sethu, Nabuki and Sipho Sethu. We thank you for the presence of their father in them. We thank you for the gift of life within them, and that we pray that as they go from here, they may consider the happy memories of their dad and know that in each step, they are their dad in some way. And so we pray, Lord, your arms of comfort around them, that they may know indeed that peace that passes all understanding throughout their lives. I pray this in Jesus' most precious name. Amen.
Loving God, as we come to the end of only the first part in this journey of bidding farewell to Xolani, we gather with thankful hearts for the gift of memory that you've bestowed upon each one of us, to enable us to recall all the words that have been shared, all the emotions that have been shared here, For you promised through your Son, Jesus Christ, that He came that we may have life and have it in abundance. And this afternoon, part of this morning and this afternoon, has been a celebration of such abundance of life. And we thank you for the gift of Xolani to his family and to us as a nation, that we have learned from him what it means to live abundant life. Lord, we pray at this time for the Gwala family and for the Kumalo family, that even with the days that lie ahead, you may continue to hold them in the palms of your hands as they do all the various preparations that they have to until the day of the actual funeral, when they have to finally bid their beloved Xolani farewell. Lord, we thank you that you have called all of us to be here this afternoon, and as we leave this place, we take with us memories, but above all else, we take with us gifts that we have received from Xolani himself. We take with us the gift, above all, the gift of gratitude that he bequeathed to us as a nation. So may the peace of God, which passes all understanding, keep your hearts and minds in the knowledge and love of God and of his Son, Jesus Christ our Lord. May the blessing of God Almighty, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit be upon you and remain with you and all those whom you love. In the name of Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you very much. As a final announcement, we do have refreshments and some food, and we would love for you to join us. Just step outside, go up to your bed and engage with the family, and just continue the celebration of Xolani's life. Thank you all, and we all for it.